your conscious awareness that we are a group that span the world, and that, you know, so thank you for being there. Thank you for bringing your energy and your anchor to the earth, which each of us are. And just feel a privilege, really. That's how I feel it, of actually being able to, at this moment, connect, as I say, right around the world. Canada, United States, UK, Sweden, I might miss a European country, but Sweden and Portugal and Greece, Crete, Russia, Australia, and of course the Middle East, Dubai, Spain, and then invite you to allow your eyes to open. So I just feel to actually start with what I often start with, and that's kind of saying how are you, but also saying that if the answer would be, you know, a bit wobbly, felt a bit tearful, had some buttons pressed, not really holding it all together, or, you know, then my response would be yes. You know, that is what this energy is doing. It's bringing up anything that's hidden. So, or anything that's from our childhood that has been, that has left an impression. If there's something that triggers that, I've been talking to a friend today, and she agreed that one of the things that's happening is the level of emotional tolerance is kind of quite thin. When, you know, much more easily triggered, which is, it's not easy to necessarily live with at the moment, but it is actually a great gift, because it means there's nothing that's hiding from us, and we're welcoming all, you know, all the parts, all the hurts, everything. They're jumping out there to just say, hey, I need your love as well. So just to acknowledge, I mean, I've had quite a wobbly day today, actually. And that's okay. You know, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be truthful. And also what I am noticing more and more is that the people who are very, very out there with up-to-date information, what's going on with Trump, what's going on Myanmar, what's, you know, what they now call themselves as the truth movement, and there are some people that are very very popular, but you know, very, very much there, and lots of people following them, and they link together as a group, and it feels to be, yeah, a bit of a fraternity in a way. I'm starting to notice how some are sharing their information, and it's got to be like this, they're sharing their information from their prejudices and from their perception of reality. So another invitation to please use that angelic Reiki connection to your wisdom. And it's a bit confusing, because they now used to be conspiracy, fair enough. And then that movement, because it didn't feel it was conspiratorial anymore, it was revealing what was not being said in the media, so it became a kind of alternative media. They coined the term truth movement. And some of it isn't, well, what is truth? It's a matter of opinion, it's a matter of perspective. So just to flag up, please use your own discernment. Nobody is right except for your truth. And don't believe me either. You know, I just come with a perspective. And sadly, some people have actually left angelic Reiki and have been quite angry and contacting other people, saying they can't be part of angelic Reiki anymore because Christine speaks against wearing masks and she speaks against vaccination, so they've got to leave. They've got to leave angelic Reiki. Well, that's not getting that's not getting the point. The only message that I have is just the simple central essence of angelic Reiki. The whole purpose is to connect to our higher self, connect to our truth, connect to our wisdom, connect to higher mind, connect to soul self, whatever word works. And I don't like using soul too much because I think it is built with kind of some with kind of Christian connotations, and I want to be able to say things that sit with whoever might be listening. That's it. Feel, is it right? And sometimes these people that have incredible minds, for heaven's sake, incredible research they've done, and are very, very confident and say what they say, believing it. Obviously they do, which is right. Because it is said with absolute conviction doesn't mean it's true. It means they're convinced of what they're saying is true, which is good. I don't want someone to be speaking up and saying something they don't actually believe. That is very out of integrity. So they're in integrity in terms of saying what their truth is, and I'm noticing more and more it's not my truth. So just to flag that up. So what I thought would be interesting to do, because we talked about the history, and I've actually been looking into recent history, human history, more recently, and I'll perhaps talk about that. But I thought we'd do something a little bit different this week. I can't remember her name, and I don't think she's here. I haven't seen her tonight, else would have remembered her name. Asked in the questions last week about Law 2 of the Alice Bailey's laws and rules of healing. And I thought you might be interested. I don't know how well this will come over, but to actually see the page. So this is Esoteric Healing, and chapter 8, there we are. That is what is in the manual, and if you can, how far back should I hold it? That might look about right. And there they are, and it's all, as you see, written out just as it is in the manual. And there's Law 2. And just asked, what's Law 2 really saying? So Law 2 says disease is the product and subject of 3 influences. First, a man's, sorry, I'm in shadow here. A man's past, wherein he pays the price of ancient errors. Second, his inheritance, where he shares with all of humanity the traits and streams of energy which are of a group origin. Third, he shares with all natural forms that which the Lord of Life imposed on his body. These 3 influences are called the ancient law of evil. There must give place someday to a new law of ancient dominating good, which lies behind all that God has made. This law must be brought into activity by the spiritual will of men. Now, on the following pages, after the page where the laws are actually written, there is an explanation of what is really meant. And it's interesting to actually look at how you read it and what you actually feel was being said, and what she actually meant. And it's what was actually meant is it's much more uplifting to actually read how she explains what she's saying is much more uplifting and much more positive than the law actually sounds. So the law is the most comprehensive in its statement and really contributes a substantial of two laws, one of which is controlling at this time. And remember, this is being written in about probably about 1932. It's that kind of time. It's between the wars, probably, when this is being written. So disease is the product of and the subject to three influences. That is what is being said. And then the explanation of the first influence. This law, so this is the one that about disease is a result of what evil has been done in the past. And that sounds quite damning and heavy, but listen to what she has to say. This law throws a man into thinking back to the basic law of karma, which, as you know, there is no avoiding, and which the modern, and then she actually criticizes the healers of that time and not appreciating it. With these influences and predispositions, causes we have already dealt with, and then there's that section of what she's already talked about. And then she then goes on to say that realizing that karma is how it is, and what has brought forwards the disease, whatever it might be, whether it's an emotional disease or a pain somewhere or a dysfunction in the body, it is from the past. It isn't a wrong that is being done now. And when that is healed, when it is brought into light, which it does, that is the gift of a disease, then that has been not the highest, not done, I don't want to say evil or whatever, but that has been in fault in the past can come to completion. So it's a gift. It's not a punishment. True healing. So what we're experiencing now, if it is any kind of disease, is about bringing to completion. It's like forgiveness. It resolves. If we will bring it into light and embrace it and be with it and let the soul self connect with it, then it's bringing stuff to completion. It's not a punishment. It's like, right, you're going to suffer this, which is often the definition of karma. No, what is happening now is that all that we experience is here to be completed. So all that we're feeling is a gift, not a for something we've done wrong in the past. And you know, there only is the now, whatever is here now. So when we experience something, whatever form of disease it is bringing to the surface energy from the past to come to completion and resolution. Okay, so that's a very lighter way of looking at karma. And the second, which is about that everything that we experience, you know, the second one was that disease is connected to the collective. The second important thing is for the patient, don't like the word patient, but there we are, to remember, if they can, that what he is enduring is a fate and the lot of the majority, and that he, obviously / she, is not alone. A right healing of ill health is a major factor in breaking down a sense of separation and a sense of aloneness. and isolation. That is why the effect of bad healing, kind of suppresses things. But sharing a sense of general participation has usually is usually learned quite hard. You know, it's like things have to be in our face before we actually deal with them. But that this law, that second law where we are part of the collective, is that when whatever we're experiencing as part of the collective, when we experience that and bring it to resolution, we are creating a deeper connection to everyone. And her words are, it leads to a sweetening of the disposition and a broadening of our sympathies. And it's like whatever we, another way of putting it is that whatever comes up for us individually, it always is all of these three. So it is connected to the collective. So it is, we are, it's like everything we experience, part of it is of a service to the whole of humanity when we come to resolution with something. So when we see it that way, then whatever we atone to, bring into oneness, you know, deal with, embrace, bring to the light, does on this level actually connect us more to everyone. And when we see that as part of what we're doing, then I think it's a lovely way of putting it. It leads to a sweetening of our disposition. Another way of putting that is that when we heal what it is in ourselves, when we, you know, I don't like the word heal, it's a very ambiguous word, but when, we'll use it anyway, then we know that we can be much more loving with other people as well. When we're more loving to ourselves, which is the first place, then we can, it's easier and it just comes naturally. We don't have to try that. When other people, whatever they do, it's easier to embrace them in unconditional love as well. Then the third part of it, which is sharing that, yes, going to ancient good. In this law, we have the clue to that will ultimately sweep disease from the earth. Let me put it quite simply. When the majority of the inhabitants of this earth begin to rapidly orientate towards good, towards righteousness, not the modern meaning of the word righteousness, and when the bulk of human beings are inclined towards goodwill, then ill health will persistently continue to disappear, even if only gradually, disappearing and dying out until finally there is no existence of disease. What this really means is that the channel of contact between the individual and his or her soul of humanity is becoming more direct, and that, even though it is slow, that will have the effect of removing disease as an experience that humanity will have. Alignment is being brought from above. You can see again, therefore, why the emphasis in life of the healer must be laid upon the contact and alignment, and why so few succeed. If you don't do that, then you know that deep healing doesn't take place. And what she also says is that at the time of writing, that has already kind of started. So we're talking about the early 1900s, 1930s, and that that will increase. And my feeling is that is exactly where we are now. And the what she's saying is that the answer is what we do, is what we're about. Looking, not dismissing, but being willing to embrace all parts of ourselves. As it says in the attunements, we ask for all parts of ourselves to return. This life, past lives, times when we didn't have unconditional love for ourselves, we welcome all of those parts back. And in doing that, that allows us the space in our hearts to be compassionate and loving, and non-judgmental to others. And the more that each individual does that, and that grows and that energy builds, not criticizing, not judging, not condemning who or whatever it is, but just having that compassionate space, that in her words is the bringing forth of ancient good, and there will be no place for disease. Now, how we'll experience that no place for disease, I'm sure will be through many different ways. But that is what that second law is about. So I think it's really interesting that that question was asked last week, because it is so it's so poignant. Everything's positive. You know, if we're not well on any level, it's just completion. It's not just a punishment. It's the time of completion. Anything that's from the collective, when we bring that into wholeness, it is for everyone. And we are living out being more connected and not isolated. That very process brings us together. And this leaving now the ancient evil and embracing the ancient good, the true goodness of humans. Because what is absolutely my truth, and I just got this quite a long time ago, that there are, so what we hear on the news, it was actually what really brought it to me was the war in Rwanda, and just hearing the reports of what was happening, and I just went, that's not human. It wasn't humans being bad, it just was not human behavior. And so much that we see, the wars, it's not what humans do. And we have been, our bodies, our emotions, our psyche have been influenced. We can call that back, and it's influenced to a greater or lesser extent, depending on our personal experiences and who we are and what has happened in the world around us. And it is, I think, what is happening is that it's being revealed just what a high percentage of people, especially people in power, well, nearly only people in power, where their humanity, they've given their humanity away. And there is a significant number that have honestly sold their souls. And all of the terrible things that we hear and see, it's not humans being bad. It's humans acting out from demonic forces, from mind control, from poisoning. It's not natural, and it's not who we are. And it's about claiming back our true humanity, which is playful, innocent, loving, creative, very creative. And that is what the connection to soul self will bring us, the clarity to see that and the ability to live as that magical, creative, loving, playful being that is actually the our true nature. And we can feel how much that has been compromised. So I think it's quite magical what's in that second law. And they're all, I think they've all got something special to flag up. Okay,